Everybody, what's going on? Welcome to How to Build. Today we're going to be going over Madam Serris. She's a Dark Elf epic, my personal favorite champion in the game, and we'll get into all that. If you're only here for gear and masteries and all that stuff, I'm putting that on the screen now. So feel free to pause and do with it what you will. If that's all you're here for, I appreciate you stopping by. Be sure and like the video and subscribe if you want to see what I put out in the future. Other than that, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. For anybody that wants to stick around, now I'm going to be talking about her as a champion. We're going to talk about her stats, her skills, and what kinds of things you should be doing with her, and just kind of go into it. And then maybe we'll do a little gameplay at the end. I don't usually do gameplay, but if you if you want to see what she looks like, at least built the way I have her in arenas where I really use her, we'll go in and do a couple of arena fights. But as I said, she's my favorite champion in the game. She's my favorite skin in the game. She's got my favorite kit in the game. Just all around my favorite champ. She is pretty insane. So as far as base stats go, 19.6 on the base HP. That's really high. That's really solid. Attack she doesn't need, so it doesn't matter that it's low. Her base defense is actually really solid too. It is really not hard to make her pretty tanky. Her base speed is 100. That's good. That's a little bit on the higher end of average. And then she's got a little bit of accuracy in her kit as well by default. And just solid base stats. Good base stats for what she's for. She's very well designed in that regard. As far as her skills go, on her first turn, she has a 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for one turn. And then if the targets are under debuffs, the chance increases based on whether or not it's 1 or 2 or more. Really cool. Fear can be a pretty aggravating debuff in the arena. Anytime you can add RNG into the mix in PvP situations, it really makes your team harder to deal with because you can't plan for RNG. You know, you can try to counter certain mechanics and you can build for certain situations. Really hard to counter RNG. Sometimes RNG is just going to get you, and that's the way it is. So the more that you can have at your disposal in your team, you know, the better chance you stand of being really aggravating in arena. So cool little first skill. And some ways to make that pretty effective that we'll get into in a minute. Second skill, attacks all enemies, has a 40% chance of stealing one random buff from each target. Places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen. Places a true fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen. Now, this is a pretty killer second skill. True fear, very aggravating. It's an AoE. She has a 40% chance of stealing a random buff from each target. If she steals 1 buff at all from anybody, your whole team gets block debuffs for 2 turns. 40% chance AoE on a buffed enemy team, she's pretty much going to steal a buff. It's just going to happen mathematically anyway. And then anybody that gets a buff taken from them gets True Fear placed on them. Pretty ridiculous skill, again, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown. It's pretty aggravating. Now, my only complaint with Serris is that she prioritizes this skill instead of her 3rd skill when you're using her AI. I really hope they change that. I know they just changed Harvest Jack. I really hope they change it and make her prioritize her A3 over her A2, because that would make her even that much more dangerous. You know, you can use her on arena defense and she can be very effective, but for certain types of defenses, it would be a lot better if she would use her A3 first, in my opinion. Her A3 removes all buffs from all enemies, places a 50% decreased attack and a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 3 turns. Now, the reason that this skill is so ridiculous is because it only relies on her accuracy. There is no chance to do it. A lot of skills will say has a 40% chance to do this. Like her second skill has a 40% chance to do something. That percentage chance means it has a chance to proc. Once it procs, then it has to roll accuracy versus resistance, and however that plays out, it will be who wins that exchange. This one, it's only based on her accuracy. So you're rolling your accuracy against enemy resistance. So if you stack her accuracy high enough, she will very rarely not do this. And you can see that I have stacked accuracy on mine pretty well, and I don't know that she's failed me yet. And I've probably used about 80 arena tokens since I've rebuilt her. And I don't think she has failed me yet. So it is a very strong skill, and is an excellent to have for an arena cleave, because really what you need in a cleave is you need your boosters, you need your buffers. Stripper is a really good idea. Defense break, nukers. She fills two very crucial roles, and she fills them very well in her strip and defense break in the same skill. She really sets you up for success in the arena. She's just a killer champ. She's legendary status worthy, in my opinion. Killer skill. And then on top of everything else, she's got a passive. Places a shield buff on herself equal to 10% of her max HP at the start of each turn. When attacked while under a shield buff, has a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. So as long as she gets first turn, unless you can strip a shield buff off of her, she's going to have it for the whole fight. And every time you hit her, you have a chance of getting fear placed on yourself, which could totally interrupt your flow. Just a fantastic kit, man. I just love her. She's such a good champ. And she's really not that stat hungry. She really doesn't need a lot to be good for the things that you're going to want to be using her for. You can see I kind of just focus speed and accuracy on her because I'm using her in my arena offense. And then just kind of by default, her tank stats have gone up pretty well, so she can take a pretty good punch too. But really speed and accuracy for the arena cleave. She could also be pretty effective in dungeons if you wanted to make her a little bit tankier. But speed and accuracy is really all she needs, in my opinion. And the gear that I have on her, you see I've gone double accuracy speed set. Again, just trying to get the speed and accuracy up. And I don't even have an accuracy banner on her yet. I need to farm because I don't have a good accuracy banner, and I can't afford to lose that 17 speed that this banner's given her. So her accuracy will go up more once I get my hands on a banner. But she is really fantastic. As far as masteries go, you don't really need much in the offense tree for her. That's why we went defense tree over here. But as far as support tree, basically anything that improves her accuracy or her stats, extends debuffs, things of that nature. So you see we started with accuracy. We work our way down to the things that have to do with accuracy and her debuffs. Here she gets turn meter when a debuff that she cast is removed or expired. Everything she does places debuffs, really. So there's a lot of opportunity for her to get some turn meter there. Again, more accuracy, cooldown reduction, not super crucial, but it's there. Increase the bonus of base stats, and I'm running double accuracy speed. Here we've got the debuff extension mastery, increased chance to place her debuffs, and then I went with the 50 accuracy because again, I want her accuracy high. I don't want to have any trouble with her landing that third skill, because if I go into a fight and she doesn't land that third skill, I'm in some trouble. My whole arena offense kind of relies on her landing her third skill, so I really need that accuracy up there. So that's a quick look at her and her skills. As far as how to build her, we talked about the sets you can use on her. Now you can use whatever you need to get the stats on her. There's no real required sets for her. Accuracy is nice if they work out and they fit and they have good subs. Speed is really good as well. Beyond that, life sets are fine. A couple of the 4 sets that I think might be nice on her would be a stun set, just some added crowd control with that second skill and her first skill, and then maybe like she's not a bad candidate for a shield set. She's got high base HP, and if you can get her HP up a little bit, she's a good candidate for that. If you wanted to try to use her on defense, Stalwart would enable her to take a better punch. But really, you don't want to sacrifice the stats to complete any set. You want to make sure you get that accuracy up and her speed where you need it to be based on your team. So it really doesn't matter. That's why there's not a ton of sets in the image at the beginning of the video, because there's not really any mandatory set, so to speak. Accuracy and speed if you got them, but really you're just trying to get that speed and accuracy up. So if you want to see her in action, we'll pop in and do a couple of arena fights. I only have 1 token, so I guess we'll pop in and do 1 arena fight. But just let you see what she looks like. And this will be an interesting test here, because it's a resistance lead, which means they're probably focusing resistance on this team, and resistance teams in arena can be pretty aggravating. So let's see if I have enough accuracy to get around this team having high resistance. And there you go. She's just so deadgum good. The fact that it only relies on her accuracy makes her so much better than anybody else that relies on a chance to proc. Because that, again, that's adding RNG into the mix, and RNG can always work against you. So it kind of removes the RNG, at least one big element of RNG. There's always RNG when you're rolling stats against each other, but removing that chance to proc is huge. So she's just killer. She's just killer. He landed. That's the first time he's ever landed asleep in 80 tokens. It's the first time I've ever had him land asleep with his third skill. I was starting to think it was impossible. Now I guess I know it's not. So unfortunately, I don't have more arena tokens, and I don't really want to buy more. But you get the idea. You go in, third skill. If it goes another round, she's a great counter for Skull Crown because the team is kind of fast enough to cycle around a Skull Crown. So you get that Skull Crown down to unkillable. Serris comes back around. She can strip the unkillable. You can kill Skull Crown before she even gets a turn. Everything in her kit is just incredible. And you're really just looking for speed and accuracy, and then if you want to make her tanky. As far as where you can use her, obviously Arena I think is fantastic. I think she's going to be excellent for Faction Wars. She's pretty handy in Campaign if you've got her early on. I think she can be good in any dungeon. I really think she's good everywhere. That AoE defense break pretty much gives her utility everywhere in the game except Clan Boss. I wouldn't take her into Clan Boss, but literally any other piece of content in this game, I think she's a fantastic champ. So if you've got her, which you wouldn't be here if you didn't, I reckon. Congrats on her. You know I'm a big fan. She is my favorite champ in the game. So hopefully I covered everything. Hopefully I answered any questions you have. If you have any questions about her, drop them down below. If you have any thoughts on her that maybe I didn't touch on, you're using her in a way I didn't discuss, or you have anything I didn't say that you want to throw down below, more information is always better. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one.